I made a mark here on page Reish Lamed Zion. So it's very abstract ideas here, trying to work with them. So we're going to read the light print on the Tiv, because I think we went through some of this, and let's see what he has to say. He says, "Afilu bizman hazeh she'ein lanu techelis," where we don't have that condition, and ve'ein lanu koch b'poel l'hamshik as shnei mochim shehem chachma v'chasad b'tzadima. We don't have the ability. Let's get the word to be able to bring down the chachma and the chasadim b'tzadima. Now, I am really perplexed by that particular phrase because it sounds like that what he means to say is the chokhmah and the chesadim of Ima in her normal state, that is, without a chiluf. That's what it sounds like. But he's talking about the chiluf. The Ima. He said, so he says that we don't have the chelis, so the chiluf is not taking place. That's the way I understand it. That's the best I can understand it. So he says, "Im kol zed," but with all of this, gam ata, also now. He says, now, yotze ha'or shal muach ha'chochma de ima, you still have the light of the chochma of ima, so the yitzi tzitzis is still coming into the concept of tzitzis. Now, this phrase where he's talking about the light of ima, let's do the word again. Yotze ha'or shal muach ha'chochma de ima. Chachma de ima means the bina of Abba, which has been transformed into the chachma of ima. That's the way I understand it. It's difficult to hear it otherwise. But these are not exactly the words that he uses. But so the tzitzis. So it makes tzitzis. So it still works. It's still doing this. So what's it doing? So this is the concept of mucha chachma de ima that comes out through the tzitzis. Then how does it come out? It comes out in some way that it is transferred into or clothed by the chuti halavan, which is the bina of bina. So that language, which is the language of the shehu muach bina de b'tzad ima, really refers to the ima dikabina, and not the abba dikabina, which was transferred into the chachma bina. But the thing is like this, that since at this time, ein lanu chuti techelis, we don't have that situation. So apparently this chiluf that he's describing can only take place, it only takes place with the time of the Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, if you're going to get that light, which is, again, I believe that he's talking about of the bina of Abba, transferred into the right side of Ima, which means that it's going to go into the right side of Zeranpin. But it comes by itself. So you're getting it anyway. And you're getting it how? You're getting it in a way that it's the way that I picture it in my mind. I have a little cold and it's hanging around. So at any rate, he says that if you took the four mochin as we saw in the drawing, which is starting from right to left, you have Chachman and Chasan the Das and Geburas the Das, and then you have Bina of Abba on the top, and then you have the same setup down below in Ima. So it sounds to me that what he's saying is at the right side, let's say looking at it and from the drawing, it would be the left side of Abba falls through straight down into the left side of Ima, and as that way it is conclosed instead of it having to be switched as a result of the chiluf. I don't know if that made sense. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't see that he says Abba. He only says Ima here, either Ina Bim or Chachma Bim. Well, mention Abba.
Okay, so the thing is, I'm mentioning it, right? Because I'm trying to understand, how do you get blue in here? What blue is he talking about? What blue could be? So he said the original blue is coming from the Bina of Abba. And there was a chiluf. Huh?
Did it say that anywhere? That it was from Abba?
Yeah. Isn't that that's the chiluf? The chiluf is that the Bina of Abba becomes the Chachma of Ima. And so since that one is only 31 letters, so therefore you have to add this blue into it. Now, which is Malchus. That's the whole thing is real vague. That's the way I'm putting it together. So I'm assuming that what he's saying like this, instead of a chiluf, what you have is you have the bina of Abba going straight into the bina of Ima without a chiluf. It just comes, they all come down together. Listen, I don't know if I'm right. I'm just trying to make the sense out of this. How does he say that? He says that without a chiluf, that's bisman hazeh. Everything is white. Huh?
I didn't see that he said there's no chiluf bisman hazeh.
Okay, so do you want to say that there's a chiluf going there? There's going to be a chiluf? Then what is his words? His words are that bisman hazeh, you can get the radiance of the muach of Abba of chachma through bina. Through bina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 30 this 32. The 31 Yud Kei Vav after the chiluf. So there is a chiluf. The problem is that you're missing a letter. So the bina of Abba becomes the chaf of Ima. There is a chiluf, and even so, we're missing a letter.
Well, anytime you do the chiluf, you're missing a letter, right?
Because you do the chiluf, the letter in the last one, in Yud Kei Vav, I have it in front of me, Yud Vav Dal, then Hey, and then Vav Vav. So the Hey is missing a letter. I'm sorry, the Vav is missing a letter. The last Vav is missing a letter. And so there is a chiluf, but the problem is now the bina of Abba becomes the chachma of Ima, that's the tchelis of the times based on Mikdash, you're missing when you have to mashlim with the tchelis. But he's only talking about Ima at this point. He didn't mention Abba. It came from Abba, but now it's Ima.
Okay, he's talking about, once again, the blue string, right?
Yeah.
So let's read it again. Try to put it together again, starting with Reish Kaf Bet. We have a few minutes. We can read it again. He says, "Afila bisman hazeh she'ein lonu techelus." So that to me is a phrase that means that there is no chiluf, because if you have a chiluf, then huh?
It's the opposite. Because we're talking about in the Hebrew, then because there is a chiluf, that's why you're lacking one in the chachma bima.
Just sticking with what he's saying here is that today he says she'ein lonu techelus. We don't have techelus.
That's right, because we don't have the chachma bima. He never mentioned Abba in this discussion. It's all Ima.
Okay. Okay, I'm still not following you 100%. Ve'ein lonu koch b'poil lahamshek el shnei hamochim shehem chachma v'chesed b'tzadima.
Ima never mentions Abba. It's only Ima.
No, his languages never mentions Abba. He mentions the chachma of Ima.
Right.
Which after the chiluf is the bina of Abba.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about, after the chiluf.
Okay, well, assuming that we're after the chiluf, he says again,
that's why
we don't have the chilus, and so that we don't actually have the ein lonu moch shehem chachma v'chesed b'tzadima. So that I was assuming that phrase you said really refers to the bina and gevuras of das of Abba, because that's what happens in the chiluf.
Right. So it used to be that, and now it's chachma and chesadim of Ima.
Okay, so he says, let's say, so let me see. So now it's so he's saying like that. We don't have the first condition where you actually. So that's what it sounds like. There's no chiluf.
No, there is a chiluf. If there are no chiluf, there'd be no problem. You'd have 32.
No, you have 32. So he's saying that's a situation where you have 32.
Yeah, then you wouldn't even need chiluf. The whole reason you need chiluf is to make up for the missing letter. That's what you started.
That was before. So that's right. If you're just looking at Bina doesn't need Techelus. She has her 32. So now he wants to
so
say, but you get the Techelis anyway.
Yeah, but the chachma says is missing a letter. Why is it missing a letter? Because there is a chiluf. Since there's a chiluf, it's the yaku of being of Abba, the chachma of Ima.
Okay, so let's read on and see if we can straighten it out better. Even though now that you're dealing with Bina, which is 32 letters. Now this is where you say that I'm mistranslating this and that we should be just talking about basically chachma of Ima without a chiluf.
With a chiluf.
So he says, but he doesn't say that. He says, Yotza ha'or shal muach ha'chachma de'ima b'sad. Well, that's what I'm translating it as. I'm translating it as if, he's saying like this, the bisman is there, you have 32 in Ima, she's pure, right? So if they're coming into Zer Anpin, we want to say that there's a chiluf. If there's a chiluf, then you're going to be short 30, you're going to be short one, and you're going to have to add on the chelis. But over here, huh? Yeah, that's what you do at the time of the base of Migdash. But now over here, we're at the time, huh?
Now it happens by itself without us doing it, because we really only have on our own the Bina Bima, but automatically Hashem gives us the Chachma Bima, as if we had Tefillah.
Okay, so let's translate. Okay, so let's translate it like that. So let's go on to number Reish Kaf Down. So this is the ruach of chachma of Ima, and you're saying which chachma? That's part of the 32, the original 32. It comes out, huh? So you're translating the chachma de Ima, meaning when there's a chiluf, which is used to be the bina of Abba. It still goes out, even though that we're not doing it. How does it get out? It gets out because it goes right straight through the bina. It wraps itself in the bina. Now you're over here on the right side of Ima, right? You're on all the way. According to if there's a chiluf here, you're all the way over on the right side, and you want to say that the right side now, without us doing this, is now going to shine through the left side. That is the chachma of Abba, which used to be the bina of the chachma of Ima, which used to be the bina of Abba, is now going to transfer itself over to it's going to shine through the bina of Bina, the bina of Ima. It has to go through, as at the same time, it has to move through the chasadim and the gevurah sadas, which are in between the two. So that sounds like very complicated. So that's to me. So let's read on. So we don't add the techelis, even though he said what? That in other words, according to what you're saying, there would be a 31 over there. It would still be a 31, but we don't have the ability to be able to bring the techelis in. So this would be the chiluf after the chiluf. It does happen. And this phrase al yedenu is really all not clear either. What are we doing to bring it about? Elohu nimshach melov. Huh? It comes by. Huh? I'm sorry. Oh, but by putting on the tzitz, you say that by putting the techelis on it is our action. Is that what you're saying?
No, by not putting the tzitz. By wearing the lavan, you're bringing about the bina de'ima. You know, so now you don't have to wear tefillahs. You don't have, he says. So you get the tefillah energy automatically, even though you didn't do anything, even though you didn't wear the tefillah. That's why it's not al yedena.
Okay, so he said, Allahu nimshach melov. Okay, so that's where it is. Okay, we have maybe just a very little bit more time. Bekevin shigam at bizman azeh yotze ha'or shal muach ha'chocha de betzad ima muluva betzitzis alava de habina. So then it's not so complicated. It's just saying that even though it's white by itself, the blue shines through it anyway. Not because of us. That's after the chiluf. Shehem chuter techelis. Tehei ramozi betzitzir shal bina the ima shehem chuter lovin. So therefore, when you put on the lovin, you're saying there should be a remiss to the fact that what? That you're missing the techelis. Huh? Well, say it again. Whoops, hello?